In the dense, unforgiving jungles of Southeast Asia, a silent war was waged, far from the grand battles that defined World War II. This is the story of Operation Remorse, a secret mission so perilous its details were locked away for decades. A story of a handful of men who ventured deep behind enemy lines, where survival was measured not in days, but in moments. The year is 1943. The Japanese Empire's grip on Burma is absolute. For the Allies, breaking this stranglehold is paramount, but conventional warfare is a meat grinder in this terrain. A new kind of soldier is needed. Enter Force 136, a clandestine unit of the British Special Operations Executive. Their mission, not to conquer territory, but to win the hearts and minds of the local population, to gather intelligence, and to cripple the enemy from within. Their training was brutal, designed to push men past their limits. They learned to live off the land, to speak local dialects, to kill silently, and most importantly, to become ghosts. Each operative knew the stakes. Capture meant certain torture and a lonely death. The jungle itself was an enemy, with its crushing humidity, venomous creatures, and rampant diseases like malaria and dysentery, which claimed more lives than bullets. Our focus falls on a small team, codenamed Viper, led by Major Alistair Finch, a seasoned officer with an uncanny ability to read the terrain and its people. His second in command was Captain Ben Carter, a communications expert, whose lifeline to the outside world was a bulky, hand-cranked wireless set. Rounding out the team were two demolition specialists, Sergeant Jones and Corporal Davies, men who could turn a railway bridge into a pile of twisted steel with nothing more than a few well-placed charges. Their insertion was a nightmare. A low-altitude parachute jump into a black, unforgiving jungle canopy. Scattered and disoriented, their first 24 hours were a frantic struggle to regroup, guided only by prearranged bird calls. One man's parachute snagged, leaving him dangling helplessly until cut down. They were already behind schedule, their supplies damaged, and the jungle was closing in. Major Finch's first objective was to make contact with the Karen, a hill tribe fiercely loyal to the British and equally opposed to the Japanese occupation. This was the most delicate phase. A single misstep, a cultural misunderstanding, could turn potential allies into deadly adversaries. Finch, relying on his pre-war experience in the region, approached the village chief alone, unarmed, offering gifts of salt and medicine, commodities more valuable than gold in this isolated world. The trust was hard won, sealed over cups of bitter tea and shared stories. With the Karen's help, a network began to form. Villagers became the eyes and ears of Team Viper, their whispers carrying vital intelligence on Japanese troop movements, supply depots, and patrol routes. This information, painstakingly coded and transmitted by Captain Carter in short, dangerous bursts, was invaluable to Allied command back in India. The risks of transmission were immense. The Japanese had sophisticated direction-finding units. Every time Carter cranked his radio, he painted a target on their backs. They never stayed in one place for more than a night, constantly on the move, their existence a fleeting, nomadic dance with death. The tension was a physical presence, a constant companion. A snapped twig, an unfamiliar bird call, could signal a Japanese patrol. Sleep was a luxury, often taken in shifts, with one eye always open. With a reliable intelligence network established, Team Viper moved to the next phase, sabotage. Their primary target was the infamous Burma Railway, the Death Railway, a critical artery for the Japanese war machine. Using the intelligence gathered by the Karen, Sergeants Jones and Davies planned their attacks with surgical precision. Under the cloak of a moonless, monsoon-choked night, they would creep towards a vital bridge or a section of track. The work was nerve-shredding. Every sound was magnified, the clink of metal on stone, the rustle of leaves. They worked by touch, their fingers numb from the tension, placing explosive charges with practiced efficiency. The fuse was lit, and they would melt back into the jungle, counting the seconds. The resulting explosion was more than just a disruption. It was a psychological blow, a declaration that the jungle itself was fighting back. The Japanese response was swift and brutal. Reprisals against local villages were common. Patrols intensified. The net began to tighten around Team Viper. One evening, a runner from a friendly village arrived, breathless and terrified. A collaborator had betrayed them. A large Japanese force was closing in. There was no time to pack. They grabbed their weapons, the radio, and what little ammunition they had left. The escape was a desperate, multi-day chase through some of the most difficult terrain on Earth. They waded through leech-infested swamps, scrambled up rain-slicked cliffs, pursued relentlessly. Captain Carter was wounded, taking a piece of shrapnel to his leg. The injury slowed them, the wound quickly becoming infected in the putrid jungle air. Major Finch made a difficult choice. They had to split up. He and the wounded Carter would create a diversion, drawing the pursuers away, while Jones and Davies, carrying the last of the intelligence, would make for a pre-arranged extraction point. It was a potential suicide mission, a final act of sacrifice for the greater good. Finch and Carter made their last stand on a small wooded hill. They held out for hours, their dwindling ammunition exacting a heavy toll on the advancing Japanese soldiers. They bought the time their comrades needed. As the last of their rounds were spent, the jungle fell silent, their fate sealed. Weeks later, Jones and Davies, emaciated and racked with fever, stumbled into a Karen village. They had made it. The intelligence they carried, paid for with the lives of their comrades, provided the final pieces of the puzzle for the planning of the main Allied offensive, Operation Capital. The information on troop weaknesses and supply vulnerabilities would go on to save thousands of Allied lives in the final push to reclaim Burma. The official records list Major Finch and Captain Carter as missing, presumed killed in action. Their names are etched on memorials, but their full story, the story of Team Viper and countless other force, 136 operatives, remained buried in classified archives for over 50 years. They were ghosts in their time, men who fought a war without front lines, whose victories were measured in secrets kept and bridges blown. They were the forgotten heroes of the jungle, and their courage deserves to be remembered. If this hidden story moved you, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More forgotten heroes are waiting to be remembered.